happy holidays to you. No, I'm just kidding. But Liz and I are going to talk about having enjoyment, finding value in like the holiday season. And so this can be a really stressful time for people. For some people, it can be a really discouraging time, a troubling time, but it should be a time full of joy and just family and all. So we're going to talk about those things and believe you're going to get some good nuggets out of this to help you go through this holiday season and the ones to come with joy and strength and peace. Be blessed as you listen. This is a really great topic to talk about, and hopefully other people will benefit from us just processing how we go through the holidays. So we've been married 18 years now, right? So this will be our 18th. Yes, this will be our 18th holiday season together. Yeah. And there's lots of dynamics, and it's interesting we'd even make a podcast on this, but there's a lot of dynamics involved with the holiday season that can be really stressful for families. And sometimes it's not as easy. Like we know people that are like, I'm done with the holidays. And then they offend their family members, and so we don't want to do that. But then also, we should be able to set a standard and a pace for our individual families that fits us and whatever. And so there's a balance to all of this. But we've been doing this for a while now as a married couple, so we've got a little place to speak from. And I think that there's different things that make the holidays not fun.
Correct.
And then there's some things that can make it really fun. And first of all, let me say this from the get-go. People have got different views, and I respect the fact that people have different views. People got different views on holiday season, in particular with Christmas. And they'll say things like, "Well, it's a pagan holiday," and I just say, what better person to squelch a pagan holiday than Jesus?
That's right.
I mean, you go into the stores and whatever, and you can hear "Joy to the World." You can hear that on the radio. I mean, come on, "Joy to the world." The Lord has come, let earth receive her King. I mean, come on, that's an awesome song. And there's all this stuff about Jesus. Is there about Jesus, and is there other stuff mixed in? Yeah, there definitely is. Is it commercialized? Yeah, it definitely is. But here's the deal: is that it's in our culture.
That's right.
And you can be against it if you want to. That's your business. But don't be a Grinch, all right? Don't try to ruin things for everybody else. And I was a little bit like that. I was like, and I didn't really have a real reason other than I was just stingy and, probably, I don't know if I was stingy, but I don't know, whatever. I just had an attitude. And so now I've turned the corner, especially the last few years, to where we look forward to it. And it is a great opportunity. Forget, don't get hung up. I would say this to anybody, don't get hung up on, it's a pagan holiday, it's pagan worship. Are you worshiping a Christmas tree? Well, no. Well, don't worry about it then. I mean, so, and there's some people that say that they've got a lot to say about that, and that's fine. You can have your opinion. If you don't want a Christmas tree, don't put up a Christmas tree, but don't bash everybody else because they like green trees with lights on them. I think they look really pretty, so great.
I love Christmas trees.
So it's fine, but
I mean, I like them
So
a lot.
My thing with the holidays anyways is like people get so freaked out. They're like, it's Jesus's birthday. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Jesus's birthday. That's when we celebrate Jesus's birthday, but I've heard different people say that it probably would have been in the springtime. Probably. Nobody really knows for sure. The odds of it being December 25th are like slim. They're 1 in 365. We don't exactly We don't exactly know, unless he was born on a leap year, then it was 1 in 366. So we really don't know when his birthday was. So just quit flipping out about that. And people are like, sometimes Christians can be such stick in the muds and not want to have fun and be like, this is Jesus's birthday. Don't focus on the presents. Listen, when you have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8-year-old kids in that range, they're going to focus on the presents. And I think sometimes and I'm not saying you shouldn't include Jesus in it, right?
Right.
But the deal is that culturally, it is a time when we come together, we eat food we shouldn't eat, and we bless people with gifts, and we have a good time as a family. Tell me where anything is wrong with any of that. Well, maybe the food we shouldn't eat.
And because of our culture too, a lot of times people are off. The secular world has said, generally speaking, that Christmas is a time that everything can shut down.
Sounds good to me.
And that families can gather
Yep.
and be together.
Family's the most important thing.
That's right.
Christmas is on a Sunday this year, and I said the beginning of, actually it was last year when we realized that, before last Christmas, I said next year we ain't coming to church on Sunday.
We ain't.
We ain't. Ain't may not be a word, but I'm going to say it anyways. So, welcome to Southern Missouri. I made that decision because it's a family. For us, it's a family time.
That's right.
And, I don't get hung up on, it's Jesus' birthday. I celebrate Jesus every day of my life. I don't have to take one day a year. I celebrate his birth, his life, his death, his burial, and most importantly, his resurrection. Every day of my life, I live in the benefits of the cross and the empty tomb.
Hallelujah.
So I don't get caught up on, well, it's commercialized and it's, just enjoy your family, and if you don't like anything about that, that's your business. You don't have to do that, but don't come down on everybody else for enjoying it. And that's kind of how I was. I was kind of a stick in the mud. So that's all kind of a side note. And before we even talked about discussing this topic, I'm like, I'm going to have a hard time not going down that road because the people are they get so religious. And in the name of not being religious, they become religious. In the name of like, well, this is Jesus' birthday and we're going to do the right thing. And then they just freak out about stuff, and then they're no fun. And then now you've become the religious one. And
honestly, if we're not careful, where we don't want the enemy to come in because it's not about him, or we could allow some separation to come because of, well, I believe this way and you believe this way, and I don't want to do things that way. And why can't there be some sort of compromise to say, this is a time that we can use, like we can utilize, we can use things to the positive. This is a time where people are off work. This is a time where we can gather, where things tend to slow down.
Yeah, at least for a day or two.
There is like celebration and a lot of joy, and we can
and we should talk about that. Potentially, there's a lot of joy, but also a lot of heartache and headache.
There could be, but turn it for joy and just celebrate with each other and make it be about family and gathering.
You used an interesting word, compromise, and that's become a dirty word, and in some instances, it is a dirty word because we don't ever want to compromise truth.
That's right.
But I remember hearing a minister years ago, and it was when the Da Vinci Code came out. Remember that movie, The Da Vinci Code? And Christians were like, this is blasphemy. This is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And people were freaking out about the Da Vinci Code. And I heard this minister get up and he goes, the movie isn't going to change what is true about who Jesus is.
Right.
So why is everybody freaking out about it? And I'm like, you know what? Actually, that's true. Who gives a rip about the Da Vinci Code and whatever other movie comes out that seems to be, heretical or whatever? Is it going to change the truth about who God is, about who Jesus is, what he did, and what he's going to do? No, it doesn't change any of that. So we don't compromise what's true, but we do compromise in the sense of being able to get along with people and just not freaking out. So sometimes people, in the name of like doing everything so right, they become relationally absent from family members and stuff because it's like, well, we don't believe in a pagan holiday either. We don't believe in a pagan holiday, and I would say, well, I don't either. But culturally, Christmas isn't about celebrating some pagan thing. It's about family coming together. To be honest with you, and every family is different. This could be taken the wrong way, so I have to be careful. To be honest with you, in my family growing up, and in our family that we have made together, it's really, yes, we talk about Jesus, we celebrate Jesus, but it really is more about gathering together and having fun and fellowshipping together as a family, having fun, playing games.
That's right.
And some people might say, well, brother, it's about Jesus's birthday. I celebrate him every day. Right. I don't have to take a day and say, oh, we're going to celebrate Jesus's birthday today. No. He's the most important. My birthday gets celebrated one time a year. And although I just saw somebody said their whole birthday weekend, some people have a birthday month, but Jesus gets celebrated.
I like that idea.
Jesus gets celebrated every day. So for me to take Christmas is like awesome. A whole society is shutting down. Let's shut down and spend time with family. That's how I view it.
Right, and then build tradition around
tradition.
What?
Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, right. Yeah. Anyway, take time. I think one thing that we have,
I think in songs, you know that.
yes, over the years, as we've gotten better at doing holidays together, because when you two become one, there's a lot of give and take. There was many years where you're like, I want to go with my family, and I'm like, I want to go with my family, and there was just some friction there because I was so used to doing things a certain way, and then you were used to doing things a certain way, and it felt like I don't want to give any. I didn't want to give any about that. And so whatever. Now, all that aside, we have worked to build really, I believe, great traditions around the holidays.
Yeah.
There are things, we do a week of Christmas because we homeschool, and I take a whole week of school, and we just do fun craft kind of things, which
We do that?
Well,
maybe I should be more involved in that week.
You should, because it's so fun. Well, we stopped doing it because I have all boys.
We started something a couple of years ago,
which was so fun.
We had a gingerbread house contest.
Yes.
And we have an hour, and we have all the stuff. That was a blast. We started something last year where we took the big ball, but we did it different, and it was so much fun how we did it with the kids, and they got their gifts wrapped up in there. It was so much fun. It really was a blast.
And we did it together.
We did it together.
And, one thing that I know that has taken a lot of pressure off of us is that instead of giving a lot of gifts, well, we've done things like experiences. We'll go on like a small trip.
Yeah.
We'll do things together as a family where we just make, especially for us, that's so important. But I think it's important for everybody because just normal everyday life gets so busy that if you don't make it stop, it won't stop.
Right.
And so we've done some big trips. One year we totally spontaneously were like, do you guys want to go on a trip?
That was a blast.
And we decided the night and we left the next morning.
That was a blast.
That was one of the most fun trips that we had. Even as a family, like everybody got along really great. We had a great time. And it was like,
we got this really nice place to stay that had all the fun pool stuff and all that for the boys because they were a lot smaller then. And it didn't hardly cost us anything, and we ended up with some free tickets to Silver Dollar City because we went to Branson, and it was a blast. We didn't even for like 3 nights vacation wasn't even that expensive, but it was fun. We did it together.
Yeah. And then we've even done as little as just let's go to a few towns over and stay at a hotel for 2 nights and just we went out to dinner, we played games, we watched movies, we swim in the pool, but we made it be about us as a family.
Yeah.
And so to me, that is so important because toys and just things that you buy. This is truth be told. We had for many years bought presents for the boys. And, it's so fun, of course, to wake up and have this euphoria of all these presents all over and watch them open them. That's fun. Like we love giving gifts. We love giving things to our children and seeing excitement on their face.
Yeah.
But the next year came and I had told the boys, you have so many toys. We're going to bless another family. And I let a grandma come and shop in our basement. And they weren't junky toys, so it wasn't junk stuff. And I told the boys, which was really hard for them, they are going to pick anything that they want and we're going to bless them. And I was finding things that they hadn't even opened from the year before.
Yeah.
And they had so many toys. The playroom always stayed a wreck. And they didn't even care about half of the stuff. And they weren't actually taking care of the things that they had very well. And then there was so much, it was overwhelming. They didn't know exactly what they had. And I was finding honestly that they only play with certain things anyway. So let's get rid of the clutter. We bless somebody in the process. They learned a valuable lesson because it was hard for them. This grandma picked a few toys that were really nice toys that they liked and sometimes play with, but not all the time. And it was hard for them to let go.
And that grandma is in need.
And need,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
that blessed that other child who was going to play with it all the time more
Yeah.
than it was. And so it was a good
So-
process for all of us.
So I think that there's a lot that could be said about this. We should do things, and here's probably one of the major points. We're just kind of talking about the holidays in
Sure,
general and
yeah.
what we do. But here's one of the major points that we should talk about here for just a few moments
Sure.
that we have left. We should work to make the holidays not stressful.
That's right.
Don't be stressful. And here's a few things I would say and do that to help do that. Don't be a Grinch in your
That's right.
home. If your family is like, we ain't putting up trees or lights or whatever, that's fine. Don't dishonor other people and where they're at. And if you've got this amazing revelation that all people that have Christmas trees are pagan idol worshipers, and you've got this amazing revelation about the fact that it's not really Jesus's birthday, then you shouldn't take your high and lofty revelation and condemn everybody else. Because if you really have a revelation of the love of Jesus, you just need to love people where they're at.
That's right.
So don't be a Grinch in any form or fashion, right? The other thing is, like, when it comes to buying, presents and however it is your family's going to do that, stay within your means. Sometimes there can be pressure because the majority of people buy presents for their kids and things like that. That most of our friends and people in our church and our families, we all do that. That's kind of a value system that we have in our family members to do that. But don't put pressure on yourself.
That's right.
If all you do, I think buying your kids something they need is boring. I would say just give them something they need and then watch a movie together. But I think giving something they want it can be something that's really fun. But don't put pressure on yourself.
That's right.
If you have a dollar amount in mind, stick to that dollar amount and don't go over that. If you have X number of dollars set out for the whole thing, for the extra food and this, that, and the other, stick to that and just make it being about being together. Be creative
That's
in how you're together. Board games go a long ways. Different ways to enjoy your time together, as far as however it looks, can go a long ways. It doesn't have to be about spending a bunch of money. And we've had times where we spent more money because we wanted to. I had one year where I bought the 3 older boys, I bought them all guns. I spent like $1,000 just on guns. When we had money come in that year, I really wanted to buy them the guns. It was honestly probably more for me than it was for them. I just wanted to buy them guns. I bought them all 22s. And then we've had other years where it was a little bit more lean, but we still had fun anyways, because we didn't make it about the money we spent. We made it about being together and doing things that were fun. And so those are a couple things that I would say to really help make the holiday time, enjoyable. Don't be a stick in the mud. Don't be a Grinch. Stay within your means.
That's right. And I would challenge people with this. If you don't like how things are going, change the narrative. Start, and if it's all been about presents and your kids feel entitled because it's Christmas, they should have all of these things, and you don't like the way that it is going, and it's causing so much stress on you and it's causing anxiety, then stop.
You might need to cancel Christmas this year.
Change
everything, how you're doing it.
Change the narrative.
Maybe you need to have your kids go and pick out a toy and say, great, we're going to buy it and give it to somebody else. If they've got so much, maybe they don't need it anymore.
And we did that. I think last year we said your Christmas gifts are going to go towards some boys that are in a boys' home. And we bought some gifts for that. That was last year.
Yeah.
And they actually had a lot of joy doing that.
They did.
And I explained to them that not everybody has a mom and a dad and a home that is full of love and affection and gifts.
Yeah.
So we have opportunity that you could take something that is yours and you could give it to somebody else.
So here's the thing that I would say with the holidays. So this would be Thanksgiving, not Halloween, but Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's pretty much what I think about Halloween. But but even with that, we're going to a harvest party, right, for our church, or a trunk or treat, and so we're going to minister to people. And my thing is, I don't want all the ungodly kids to get all the candy. I want my kids to get candy too.
Right.
So I'm fine with that. Of course, we don't celebrate all the ghosts and goblins and all that crap.
That's right.
That's all garbage. But when it comes to Thanksgiving and for Christmas, find value in it. Find
That's right.
value in the time together. Find value in the Lord. Certainly put attention on Jesus.
That's right.
Certainly be thankful, and certainly, especially with Thanksgiving, take the opportunity to teach your kids about, or if you're just married, you don't have any kids, go back and revisit our history that we have find the real story about the Pilgrims and the Native Americans, right? And find out what that looked like, and because a lot of what's being told is not true.
It's such a beautiful
It's amazing.
story.
So find
Yeah.
value in everything that you're doing. And, some things in culture are like, because I was a part of that, and I think this is why I keep bringing it up in this conversation, that I was a part of that almost like, let's X out Christmas. Like I never vocalized that, but I thought that because I do see the pagan stuff that is involved
Right.
with that and Easter. I get all that. But is that really a fight that is worth fighting? I mean, is the Easter bunny really going to undo the resurrection of Jesus? If a Christmas tree and an Easter bunny are going to ruin your kids' view of who God really is, then you're not a good parent. Because you're not telling your kids enough about Jesus all
And
the other days
everyday,
of the
yeah.
year, that if they would be sideswiped by the Easter bunny and Christmas, that they don't know what's going on, you need to reset some priorities in your home. Forget about trying to change those 2 days. Change all the other days in the year.
That's right.
Come on now, that'll preach.
That will preach.
Yeah. So, praise God. Hopefully some people got some good stuff out of this, but
And start
lay
enjoying.
that's what I was going to say. Lay off the pressury stuff of the
Yeah.
holidays so that you can enjoy
That's
it.
right.
Amen.
Thank you for listening in on this conversation. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and write a review. Share it with your friends and on your socials. For more information about Ward Ministries, check out wardmen.org. If this podcast is encouraging you on your marriage and family, we want to hear about it. Email us at info@wardmen.org, and make sure you keep your eye out weekly for the latest podcast on marriage and family.